Welcome back. This is lecture 11 of marginal costing, and this is CMA Intermediate June 2022 attempt. ठीक है, lecture 11 marginal costing का है. Group 1 cost accounting और Group 2 के cost and management accounting दोनों के लिए. Okay. Okay. So we were here. ठीक है. So this part you understood when it will be different. So marginal costing, basically the purpose is not to keep data or store data. That is not the point. So marginal costing, you are organizing the cost in a way that helps you take decision. Okay. So these things are theoretical what we are studying. Okay. So right. So now let us see the presentation of data. Now this type of presentation you will only require when you are comparing absorption and marginal costing. Okay, it has a very limited use. Okay, and only here, this only statement where you will use it like this. Okay, so otherwise you know that this marginal side, how we use marginal costing is we know S minus V is equals to contribution less F gives you profit. Okay, this is how we use the marginal cost statement. In marginal cost statement, we don't give emphasis on stock, opening closing stock. Okay, so here if you see I'll just show the marginal part first because you know it. Sales, okay, less all variable manufacturing cost is material, labor and variable overhead. This gives you cost of goods produced. Okay, here add opening stock of finished goods less closing stock of finished goods. Okay, of course opening stock cost will be as per previous period because it comes from previous period, right? Closing stock will be current variable cost. Okay, so if you add and deduct, you will get cost of goods sold, and here you add variable part of administration and selling and distribution overhead. So here you get total variable cost. Now this is just an error here. Okay, there's no adding of selling and distribution here. Okay, okay, because your variable selling and distribution is added here and your fixed selling and distribution is added here. Okay, so both have been taken care of. This is just an error here, so you can mark it in your study material if you want. Okay, so now this is what's here. See this total variable cost, what we are seeing here, no? This one, this is what we show here as V, and what we do not bother about while doing marginal costing is this part. Okay, okay, because the purpose is to take decisions, and when you take decisions among different alternatives, the opening stock and closing stock becomes irrelevant cost. Okay, it will be there for all the alternatives, right? So any cost which is there for all the alternatives, okay, it is not considered to be relevant to the decision. Okay, okay, so which is why we do not consider this when we prepare your marginal cost statement. This is what we do. Okay, so this is how it is presented. Okay, if you are preparing an income statement under marginal costing, you prepare it in this way. Okay, last is this is your contribution. Okay, so actually this is this part, right? And then just deduct F. F is the fixed cost of all these, whether it is manufacturing fixed cost or it is at selling and distribution fixed cost, office fixed cost, everything together will be F for us. Okay. So, and now how we show in absorption costing, see this is your traditional costing, right? So this probably you will understand if you would have seen cost sheet and all. Okay, now sales, of course, because it's an income statement, you are showing it as sales less cost is equals to profit. Okay, now production cost, direct material, labor, variable overhead and fixed overhead, everything together you get cost of production. From cost of production, add opening stock of finished goods less closing stock of finished goods, you get cost of goods sold. Correct? This is how we do cost sheet, if you remember, right? So now at this stage, after you get cost of goods sold, here you add or less over or under absorption. Okay, so this overhead, this overhead has been charged using that normal units. Okay, that's why you will have that over or under absorption. that you will charge here at the end of the period. You will make that adjustment where I showed you, right, 1,000 more or 1,000 less or whatever more and whatever less. Okay, that you will adjust it here. So you will add, if there is under absorption, that means fixed cost is less, right? So to make it proper, you will have to add it back. So if it's under, you will add it back. If it's over, you will deduct it. You'll make it less. Okay, so only this part here is our adjustment for under and over absorption. This one. Okay, and after this, what you have to do is just add your office expenses and selling and distribution cost. You get your total cost. And once you get your total cost, then your sales less your total cost gives you profit. Okay, this is how both are done. So we will do one.
Sir, very similar like cost sheet, isn't it?
It
Yes,
is
absorption costing.
absolutely. Rather, you can just say that you can even say that you've just added sales on top and you're showing the profit.
Sir, this difference is only for understanding purpose, or if difference between comes, we have to show this?
No. Difference between comes, you don't have to show anything, no diagrams and all. If difference between comes, you just have to give some points of difference. Okay, so just refer to this over under absorption, that will be 1 point of difference. Okay, and then closing stock will be 1 point of difference. Stock in absorption costing will have element of fixed cost. Marginal costing will be valued at marginal cost. It will not have element of fixed cost. That will be one. Okay, this kind of difference you will give. You have to give in points to different comes. Okay, so you don't have to draw this as such. So now we will do, okay, these are your limitations of absorption costing. This is costs are vitiated due to existence of fixed overhead. So it renders them useless for comparison and control. Okay, so for decision making purpose, fixed cost is a committed cost, and decision is made based on relevant costs. Okay, so which is why, like in marginal costing, we would have seen, we are going to do even more problems on marginal costing, where you will see that for two alternatives, we have got two alternatives. There is a cost which is same in both of the alternatives. We ignore that cost. Why? Because it is not making a difference in your choice. So you only see those, you examine those costs, which are making a difference in your decision. Okay, if you've got two alternatives, for both, you need the factory for one period. So rent is 10,000 here, rent is 10,000 here. That becomes irrelevant cost. Okay, so that's why for comparison and control, this is not useful. Carryover of a portion of fixed cost to subsequent periods as closing stock. Correct. This is not a good practice that way. The fixed cost was incurred for that period, previous period. With closing stock, part of fixed cost is going to the subsequent period. Okay, that is one point. Limitation. Part of profit is due to unsold inventory, like I showed you, right? Because of unsold stock, you have part of profit or loss, right? Based on closing is more than opening or vice versa. ठीक है? Okay. तो ये सब हो गया. फिर then there is no uniformity in application of overheads. Okay. So again, this overheads में भी थोड़े बहुत अंदर methods होते हैं. There is no uniformity in it. ठीक है? That is one point. And then not suitable for decision making. Yeah. So this is short, some points you have to remember. So you can, if difference comes, then I think you know enough now to write 4 points at least. Okay. If it comes, it will not come for more than 4 marks. You just need to write 4 points. Okay. And here same thing is being repeated. Okay. Both fixed and variable costs are considered. Okay. Only variable costs are considered for inventory valuation and product costing. Here fixed costs are charged to cost of production. Here they are regarded as period costs. So in the end, they are charged off to contribution. Okay. This is the conventional pattern as we saw. Okay. This is a special pattern, right? To highlight the total contribution of each product towards the total profit. Okay. So यहाँ पे fourth point is magnitude of opening and closing stock affects the unit cost of production. ठीक है, इसमें it doesn't affect because unit cost is considered as marginal cost, that remains the same. ठीक है, the cost per unit reduces as production increases. ठीक है, तो इसमें marginal cost remains the same. So any of the, you don't go by this as such. Any 4 points, just remember based on the discussion we have had. Okay, and those 4 points you have to write. Okay, you have understood what I have explained to you. Just remember that way. Don't learn all this. Okay, just be prepared for this question. Is very important. Difference between absorption and marginal, very famous question. Okay, so just keep 4 points ready with you. Just think that your exam is tomorrow and just remember jot down your 4 points. Okay, it will be there in your brain. In the end, in March, in May, you will not have time to revise these theories and all. You'll just have just enough time to go through the problems. So these kind of things you should remember here itself. यहीं कहीं आप लोगों ने कर लेना है. ठीक है, तो फिर इसके बाद है डिफरेंस इन प्रॉफिट, जो मैंने आपको बताया था कब कैसे कैसे होगा. Difference in profit, I just explained, right? No opening and closing stock, profits equal. Opening stock is equal to closing stock. Profit will be equal if fixed cost element in both the stocks is same. That is, they are saying that previous year's fixed cost rate is same as the current year. It's possible that the current year rate has gone up, right? Rent बढ़ सकता है आपका, right? So even if both units opening and closing stock are 500, still there can be a difference. That is the point they are saying. Closing stock greater than opening stock. इसको कैसे आपको याद रखना है? Closing stock is your income side, right? So if income side is greater, then what will happen? Profit as per absorption costing will be more. Opening stock is greater, that means your expense side is more. So profit as per absorption costing, if expense cost is more, side is more, what will happen? Profit as per absorption costing will be less, correct? If profit as per absorption is less, that means with as per marginal is more, right? So this is the difference. So this is also asked. So just remember, get the logic, you can write it by yourself. ठीक है, इसका आपको बस लॉजिक समझ लेना है. आप लोग ये लिख सकते हो क्लियरली. ये समझ में आया ये पॉइंट, ये पार्ट? ठीक है, एनी क्वेश्चन? ऋतिक, आपका टाइम हो गया?
सर अभी सर का मैसेज आया था 7:30 से आज.
अच्छा अच्छा, ओके, बढ़िया. ओके, तो दिस पार्ट यू हैव अंडरस्टूड, राइट? सब क्लियर है सबके लिए?
यस सर.
चलिए, सो ना अभी एक इलस्ट्रेशन बस इसका ये देख लेते हैं. दिस इज लाइक, फिर यहाँ पे टाइम है तो एक दो मार्जिनल के प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व कर लेंगे, देन विल कंटिन्यू विद प्रॉब्लम्स टुमारो. So as per theoretical point of view से we almost covered marginal costing. ठीक है, अब just हमको as time goes by we just have to keep doing problems. दो तीन प्रॉब्लम्स करते रहेंगे जब जब हमको टाइम मिलेगा. ठीक है, that's all it is. So कल एक दिन full day will dedicate 2 classes, 3 classes will dedicate to marginal problems only. उसके बाद we'll start standard costing. Okay, तो चलो, तो ये इसमें क्या करना है? We just have to use the same statement above. Okay, तब ये स्टेटमेंट का पूरे स्टडी मटेरियल में एक ही प्रॉब्लम है. ओके, तो एम्फसिस इज नॉट टू मच. एक बार आप देख लेना कि कैसे डाला जाता है. तो करना कुछ नहीं है, मैंने देयर इज नथिंग टू सॉल्व एज सच, जस्ट हैव टू सी हाउ इट इज डन. ठीक है, जो किस ढंग से लिखा गया है, राइट? सो दिस कंपनी प्रोड्यूसेस अ सिंगल प्रोडक्ट फॉर दिस ईयर. Activity level is sales level. This 50%, this is 100%. Sales and production units यहाँ पे 400, 800. Okay, this is, let us say this is half year, this is full year. Okay, so यहाँ पे now they have given sales half year is this much, then production cost is variable इतना है, और fixed is इतना, यानी first half fixed is your 1,60,000. Second half fixed is again 1,60,000. This is the production fixed cost. So overhead absorption rate में always remember जो fixed cost use होता है ना, that is production fixed cost. So जो rate वो बनाते हैं, that is for basically for production purpose. Okay, so that is not for selling and distribution fixed cost and all that. Okay, तो वो जो चीज है वो कॉन्सेप्ट इज ओनली फॉर प्रोडक्शन फिक्स्ड कॉस्ट. ओके, जस्ट रिमेंबर दैट पॉइंट. और यहाँ पे देन यू हैव गॉट सेलिंग एंड डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन कॉस्ट्स. हियर दीज आर वेरिएबल एंड दिस इज फिक्स्ड सेलिंग एंड डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन कॉस्ट. ठीक है, तो यहाँ पे मैं ये बोल सकता हूँ यार, दिस इज 800 यूनिट्स है ना साल का, दिस 800 यूनिट्स. So I can say if I divide sales by units, I'll get per unit sales. This is 2000. Okay, क्या किया मैंने? I've just found out per unit sales. ठीक है? So similarly for variable cost also we can find out per unit. I can just take this total variable cost divided by total units. ठीक है? I got per unit variable cost. And this one also is variable cost, right? Selling and distribution variable cost. So isko bhi I'll just do the same thing. Okay, I'll divide by units. I'll get 400. ठीक है? तो क्या किया मैंने? कुछ भी नहीं. I just divided it by number of units, which was 800 in all these. ठीक है? To just get per unit variable. चलो, now आगे what is the problem? Let's see. Normal activity level is 800 that we have seen. ठीक है, fixed costs are incurred evenly throughout the year. Okay, actual fixed costs are the same as budgeted. So यहाँ पे बोल रहा है कि there is no over and under absorption. ठीक है, actual is same as budgeted means there is no over and under absorption. No opening and closing stock. No, sorry, no opening stock, no stocks at the beginning of the year. ठीक है, but then so actually here what they are asking us to give the first quarter statement. ठीक है, ऐसा लिखा नहीं है यहाँ पे basically, but based on the solution we have to give the first quarter statement. ठीक है, in first quarter 220 units were produced and 160 units were sold. ठीक है, ये first quarter का डेटा है. So now we are going to दोनों absorption और marginal के हिसाब से using this data we will prepare that income statement. Calculate the fixed production cost absorbed by goods if absorption costing is followed. यानी fixed cost देखेंगे. What would be the under over recovery of overheads? Okay, so then ये जो है again जो मैंने बोला था ना कि fixed costs are incurred evenly and actual fixed costs are same as budgeted. Okay, so for the from the year point of view it is same. Okay, from the year point of view कुछ भी over and under absorption नहीं हुआ है, but from the quarter point of view हो सकता है. Okay, so in you have 800 units, you know, right? 800. So your normal production for quarter should be 200. So यहाँ हमने देखा कि they have actually produced 220 units. So there will be little bit of over absorption. ठीक है, from a quarter point of view. Okay, ये हो गया. And what would be the profit as per absorption costing? Profit as per marginal costing. यानी वही बोल रहे हैं कि they are asking us to prepare both the statements. ठीक है, ये problem है. Right, अब हम let us see कि how we will make it.
सर इसका मतलब सम में जो दिया हुआ है ऊपर वो बजटेड है फॉर द लेवल ऑफ आउटपुट्स के लिए.
हाँ हाँ,
मतलब एक्टिविटी लेवल के लिए ये बजटेड है ना.
हाँ ये बजटेड.
अब इसके बेसिस पे हमको जो लेवल ऑफ एक्टिविटी बोला है उस पे निकालना पड़ेगा, ऐसा कुछ
क्या ये
मतलब सर इन दोनों
हाँ
इन दोनों एक्टिविटी लेवल के बेसिस पे ही
नहीं, ये जो दिया है
नीचे दिया हुआ
नहीं, ये जो दिया है ये बजटेड है क्या पूछ रहे क्या आप मुझसे? ये
हाँ सर.
नहीं नहीं ये बजटेड नहीं है, दिस इज एक्चुअल. ये एक्चुअल है. ठीक है, और बजटेड जो दिया है वो आपको नीचे दिया है. ओके, नॉर्मल एक्टिविटी लेवल 800 ये दिया है. ठीक है, सो इन द एंड हो ये रहा है कि जो नॉर्मल इज द सेम एज योर एक्चुअल, इसीलिए यहाँ पे बोल रहे हो एक्चुअल फिक्स्ड कॉस्ट भी सेम एज बजटेड है. ओके, सो एक्चुअली ये जो है ये
हाँ सर, मैं यही पूछ रहा था कि सर बजटेड भी यही है ना, मतलब बजटेड लेवल भी तो यही होगा ना जब दोनों लेवल एक्टिविटी सेम.
यही होगा एनुअल के लिए. ठीक है, अगर आपका दोनों लेवल सेम है तो देखिए आपका जो एनुअल फिक्स्ड कॉस्ट जो है तो क्या होगा आपका एनुअल बजटेड फिक्स्ड कॉस्ट विल बी सेम एज एनुअल एक्चुअल्स, करेक्ट, ये बोल रहे हैं आप, करेक्ट, ये ठीक है, लेकिन अब ये जरूरी नहीं है कि जो आपका क्वार्टरली भी सेम होगा, राइट। तो क्वार्टरली में क्या होगा, देखिए 800 is there, right? So 200, 200, 200, 200. This should be your quarterly figures, correct? But here what has happened? यहाँ पे 220 हो गया, अगले पीरियड में हो सकता है 180 हो जाए, देन हो सकता है 150 हो जाए, तो जो भी आपका बचता है ये whatever, जो ये टोटल आपका हो जाएगा 800 इन दी एंड, ओके। तो ये कितना हो गया 400, 550, 250, 250. If I put this, ये भी आपका हो गया 800, ठीक है, समझ में आ रहा है ना?
हाँ सर।
हाँ,
यस सर।
आप खामोश हो गए तो मैं थोड़ा सोच में पड़ जाता हूँ।
नहीं सर, मतलब मैं कंफ्यूज हो गया कि उन्होंने क्वार्टर का डेटा मांगा है ना,
हाँ
220 क्वार्टरली पर, तो मैं वो कंफ्यूज हो गया। तो
करेक्ट
मैं सोचा एनुअल और बजटेड जब सेम है तो फिर निकालने की क्या जरूरत है, सब इसी में
करेक्ट।
से ले लेते।
तो अभी हमको हमको सिर्फ क्वार्टर का स्टेटमेंट बनाना है, ठीक है। अब ये समझ लो जैसे कि ये हमारा पूरा, दिस इज योर होल ईयर्स डेटा, नाउ ओनली द फर्स्ट क्वार्टर हैज एक्सपायर्ड अभी तक, ठीक है, हम यहाँ गए नहीं अभी, यहाँ तीन, these three we don't know now. First quarter has expired, first quarter के बाद we'll have to prepare the statement showing under absorption, जो भी है whatever is the current position, ठीक है, understood everyone? सबको
Yes,
समझ
sir.
गया? तो एनी डाउट आप लोग बिल्कुल पूछिए, कोई डोंट वरी, कॉस्टिंग वगैरह में कॉन्सेप्ट हैज टू बी क्लियर। तो दिस इज अ वेरी वेरी स्कोरिंग पेपर, ठीक है, बहुत अच्छा स्कोरिंग कर सकते हैं, कॉन्सेप्ट शुड बी क्लियर। इस पेपर में लैंग्वेज लैंग्वेज का कोई रोल ही नहीं है, देयर इज नो रोल, ठीक है। सो एनीथिंग यू वांट टू आस्क आस्क, इफ यू आर नॉट कंफर्टेबल टाइप इट देयर, आई विल रीड एंड आई विल आंसर, okay? So this one you understood. So now first quarter is 200 should have been the budgeted, but actuals are 220. So now we have to find over under absorption and all that, okay? You do see this problem once more, you will understand, okay? It's not very complex, it's just big, okay? Too much of data is there, so let's see. So first,
Sir.
yes
Sir, one more thing, sir.
yeah,
Sir, अगर बजटेड था 200 यूनिट्स का और एक्चुअल प्रोडक्शन 220 यूनिट्स का हुआ है, तो सर अंडर एब्जॉर्प्शन कैसे होगा सर?
बजटेड 200 है तो तो अंडर एब्जॉर्प्शन नहीं होगा, ओवर एब्जॉर्प्शन होगा।
ओह अच्छा, नहीं सर, अभी आपने कुछ बोला तो मेरे को लगा अंडर एब्जॉर्प्शन क्या होगा।
अंडर नहीं अंडर एब्जॉर्प्शन नहीं, अंडर बोला क्या मैंने, आई डोंट रिमेम्बर, ठीक है, हो सकता है, बट दिस इज ओवर एब्जॉर्प्शन। सो ओवर, और सो यू विल ऑलवेज यूज दिस सीइंग योर एक्चुअल्स, ठीक है। एक्चुअल्स ज्यादा है मतलब आपने ज्यादा चार्ज कर लिया, ज्यादा चार्ज किए हैं तो वर्ड ओवर आ जाएगा, बस इतना याद रखना। आपने अगर कम चार्ज किए, 180 अगर चला गया, आपने कम चार्ज किए, कम किए ना, तो अंडर वर्ड आ जाएगा, ओके? तो ये है, ओके? तो चले आगे, चलो इसको निकाल देंगे। अच्छा, सबसे पहले बजटेड फिक्स्ड प्रोडक्शन कॉस्ट 1,60,000, ठीक है, साल भर का आपका है 1,60,000, करेक्ट। फिक्स्ड प्रोडक्शन कॉस्ट इज 1,60,000, okay? This we are taking as the starting point to calculate the overhead absorption rate, ठीक है। This is 60,000 and ठीक है, normal level is 800, ठीक है। So we'll just do 1,60,000 upon 800, we'll get the overhead absorption rate, ठीक है, that is 200 per unit. So basically यहाँ पे भी क्या किया हमने, here just taken this divided by activity level, which is this 800 units, okay? So this we've got as 200. Okay, what is this? This is your overhead absorption rate. ठीक है, इसको एक बार आप देख लोगे ना घर में, समझ में आ जाएगा. ओके, ये हो गया हमारा ओवरहेड अब्जॉर्प्शन रेट. नाउ जैसे मैंने बोला, जब आपका क्वार्टर होता है, व्हाट यू विल यूज द ओवरहेड अब्जॉर्प्शन रेट. करेक्ट, दिस इज व्हाट वी डिस्कस्ड इन द फर्स्ट सेशन, राइट. So overhead absorption rate se you will multiply it, you will get 44,000. Now you know actual should have been 40,000, 1/4, correct. Now this is 4, so your over absorption or over recovery is 4,000. ये बात clear हो गया सबको? Okay, any doubt at this stage?
No, sir.
Everyone fine here, right?
No doubt, sir.
Okay. So ठीक है, ये हो गया. अब चलो, अब हम this was the basic calculations which we needed, वो हमने कर लिए. Now we will prepare absorption costing statement, जैसा हमने जो प्रोफॉर्मा देखा था ना वैसे. Sales revenue 160 units were sold, दिया था हमको, right? 220 units were manufactured, 160 was sold. So 160 into 2000 is the per unit sales, correct? वो करेंगे 3,20,000 आ जाएगा. Okay. Then production cost में variable cost 220 units, again production cost production units लेंगे आप, ठीक है. You will not take 160, remember this, ठीक है. और selling and distribution cost जो है, you will always use the units which have been sold actually, क्योंकि वो selling and distribution cost जो बिके हैं उसी के ऊपर लगेंगे, right. ये production है, जो manufacture जितना कर रहे हैं उस पे लगेंगे. Okay, production costs. For production cost, you will use the manufactured units. For whatever purpose you are treating the selling and distribution cost, always use the units sold. See, name itself is selling cost. Okay, so variable cost 220 into 800 per unit is your variable cost, correct. So we want to see the variable cost per unit. So you can see here, right, we had calculated. Sorry, यहाँ लिख दिया मैंने overhead absorption. This is the overhead absorption. Okay. ठीक है. So 800 is your variable cost per unit. We had calculated at the beginning. So ये हो गया आपका ये, और fixed overheads is 220 units into 200. 200 कैसे? यहाँ पे आपने overhead absorption rate निकाला ना, 200. This one you used this. Okay. So this overhead absorption rates, this we are using for fixed overheads, correct. 220 into 200 gives us 44,000. Basically जो यहाँ पे आपने निकाला है ये यहाँ डाल रहे हैं और कुछ. Okay, so this you add these two up and you will get this. ठीक है. Then add opening stock and deduct closing stock. ठीक है. बस इसमें क्या करना है ना, for finding out. अच्छा, हमको we knew that 220 units are manufactured, 160 was sold. So what is the closing stock? Is 60, correct. So closing stock is 60. Okay. So now how to, so you will to add opening stock. In the problem it was given in the beginning of the year there is no opening stock, remember. There were no stocks of Boost at the beginning of the year here, right? So no opening stock, 0. Okay, and okay, closing stock is so now how do you find the closing stock is like this. Okay, now you have to use this production cost. Okay, this is your production cost, right? This 220. So what you will say is for 220 units, the production cost is 220,000. Okay, so for 60 units, what is the cost? Okay, 60 units, what is the cost? ठीक है, ये कैसे find out करेंगे? You do cross multiplication. 60 into 220 upon 60 into 2,20,000 upon 220. ठीक है, सेम चीज आपने यहाँ की है here in this computation. ठीक है, this is how you have found this out. कि 220 के लिए 2,20,000 is the cost. What is for 60? That's how you found this. Okay, so आप 220 minus 60 करेंगे तो आपको ये आ जाता है, इसको बोलते हैं cost of goods sold. ठीक है, and at this stage you have to adjust that over absorption of 4,000. Okay, जैसे प्रोफॉर्मा में हमने देखा बस वही कर रहे हैं, we are not changing anything here. ठीक है, अब ये होने के बाद आपको सेलिंग एंड डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन को आप अलग से करेंगे. 160, जैसे मैंने बोला कि यूज 160 यूनिट्स हियर. ओके, द सेल्स यूनिट्स. सो व्हाटएवर इज योर पर यूनिट सेलिंग एंड डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन का प्रॉब्लम में दिया है, मल्टीप्लाई यू विल गेट दिस. और सेलिंग एंड डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन का फिक्स्ड ओवरहेड्स को इट्स फर्स्ट क्वार्टर रेट टेक्स स्ट्रेट 1/4 फिक्स्ड ऑफ सेलिंग एंड डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन को जस्ट अपोर्शनेट क्वार्टर वाइज स्ट्रेट अवे. ठीक है, there's no other basis, so you can just straight away do 1/4. ठीक है, so ये हो गया आपका ये. Okay, then okay, so ये तो आगे आपका cost of sales. ठीक है, so this is basically from your cost of goods sold. ठीक है, you deducted this over absorption. Okay, right, and then okay, all these costs. So basically this is right, you are adding all these costs. ठीक है, all these are costs. Basically this is your production cost, all costs you are adding and you are getting 2,80,000 here. ठीक है, this is your total cost. ठीक है, so जो bracket में है that is the only thing you are reducing. ठीक है, यहाँ पे ये this is the only things you are reducing. ये हम बात कर रहे हैं from the costs, that is take this as one block. ठीक है, इसमें से within this, okay, you are adding the positive parts, just deducting the negative parts. आपको आ जाएगा cost of sales which is 2,80,000. बस once you get this minus this will give you profit. ठीक है, so this is how, what is your profit now. ठीक है, can anyone tell me profit as per absorption will be more or marginal will be more?
Absorption will be more, sir.
Very good. So absorption will be more because
Fixed costs are considered as a part of it.
Because fixed costs.
Fixed costs are taken into consideration.
Yes, and
Means in the production part, the fixed cost is taken, whereas in the marginal costing, it is ignored.
no, yeah, it is yeah. No, but it will be also treated as total product cost, right? You will deduct the fixed cost at the end. That difference comes because of opening and closing stock. Opening stock and closing stock. Where your closing stock is more than opening stock, this closing stock will have some part of the fixed overheads. That was what I explained in one part earlier, right? But if say this opening stock has a fixed part of, let us say 500, and closing stock has a fixed part of 1,500. Because this is the income side, the net will be 1,000. Okay, and in marginal costing, this will not be there at all because fixed cost is not considered. Okay, so in marginal costing also, when the total cost is found out, you deduct F, right? In the end, you do S minus V is equals to C, then you deduct F also, correct? To get the final profit. Correct. So, but the thing is, here in absorption costing, in stock fixed cost element is there. That creates that difference. In this case also, your production is less, your sales is 160 units, production is 220 units. So you have a closing stock which is more. Okay, zero opening stock at the beginning, but closing stock is 60. So profit as per absorption costing will be more than marginal. Let's just see marginal Any questions in this? Any questions? कोई क्वेश्चंस इसमें? बस इसको सिर्फ ले करना है, ऐसे हमको बस ले करना है, इसका इंपॉर्टेंस भी इतना ही है, एक ही प्रॉब्लम है ऐसे. ओके, चांस बहुत ही कम है आने का, बट एक प्रॉब्लम है, आप देख के रख लो. इट विल बी लाइक दिस ओनली. ठीक है, प्रोफॉर्मा बेस्ड है, सो जस्ट हैव अ लुक. ठीक है, तो मार्जिनल कॉस्टिंग में क्या करते हैं ये देखेंगे. सेल्स सेम रहेगा. ठीक है, उसमें कोई डिफरेंस नहीं. सेल्स लेस वेरिएबल कॉस्ट 220 into 800, या आपका वेरिएबल कॉस्ट हो गया. नो ओपनिंग स्टॉक, यहाँ पे जो क्लोजिंग स्टॉक है यू विल वैल्यूएट एट मार्जिनल कॉस्ट. ये ऐसा करने की भी जरूरत नहीं. ठीक है, जस्ट टेक योर क्लोजिंग स्टॉक 60. ठीक है, 60 into 800 वेरिएबल कॉस्ट आप कर दो. 60 into 800 विल 48,000 स्ट्रेट अवे. ओके, ये हो गया क्लोजिंग स्टॉक, ये हो गया कॉस्ट ऑफ गुड्स सोल्ड. दिस विल बी सिंपलर बिकॉज वी नो द स्ट्रक्चर. ठीक है, ये वेरिएबल कॉस्ट, देन ऐड सेलिंग एंड डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन ओवरहेड्स, ये वेरिएबल पार्ट है. 160 into 400 gives you this. So this is your cost of sales. There is no, see that opening and closing stock addition. It's there, but it's based on marginal cost. Okay, this will be there, but will be based on marginal cost. But the decision making problems we do, this part is ignored. Okay, we just ignored this. Once you ignore this part, then the structure is actually very much that only. S minus V is equals to C minus F is equals to profit. Okay, structure is that only. We are just elaborating it. That's all. ठीक है, तो इसमें आपको मिल गया कॉस्ट ऑफ सेल्स. ठीक है, अब नाउ दिस इज कंट्रीब्यूशन. ये आपका सी है, सेल्स माइनस कॉस्ट ऑफ सेल्स गिव्स यू कंट्रीब्यूशन. अब यहाँ पे देखिए फिक्स्ड कॉस्ट आ रहे हैं. दिस इज अ फिक्स्ड कॉस्ट. इन द एंड देयर इज एफ, राइट? Production based fixed cost and selling and distribution fixed cost. Total gives this. Profit is 28. Above the profit was 40,000. Right? So this profit is less. Why it is less? It is because of the impact of fixed overheads. Impact of fixed overheads in closing stock. ठीक है? In stock rather. In stock क्यों बोल रहा हूँ कि if opening stock में अगर ज्यादा है तो absorption का profit गिर जाएगा. इसका ज्यादा रहेगा. Okay? It's more in opening stock, then absorption profit will be less. Chalo, any question here? So you just have to go and see this format. Nothing much to explain in this as such, as you would have seen. देख लेना आप एक बार. आप कुछ questions होते हैं, you can ask me if you feel that why this particular thing has come or anything. You can ask me. Okay. ये प्रॉब्लम को एक बार देख लेना. एक ही प्रॉब्लम है, ऐसा आएगा तो something similar will come. So better is just see, और एक बार लिख के देख लेना एक दो बार. Be sure of this pro forma. That's all. Okay. Next, ये लास्ट चीज है. इसके बाद डिफरेंशियल कॉस्ट एनालिसिस. ठीक है, इसमें प्रॉब्लम्स वगैरह भी नहीं है. It's only a concept for you. What is differential cost analysis? We'll see that tomorrow. Okay. So see you all. Thank you, and we'll meet at 5 tomorrow. Okay. Remember, class starts at 5 from tomorrow. Right. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.